Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Let me know in the chat how you're doing. Apologies for being late. I could not get my camera to work at all, and I thought it was broken, but I did fix it. So we are here. Let me alert people that we are live. And like I said, let me know in the chat how you guys are doing. Last week of the NFL regular season, cannot believe it. And we've got kind of like an interesting slate. I've compared it all week to almost like a preseason DFS slate because two of the three, well, I shouldn't say three, but two of the biggest games in terms of teams having to win took place yesterday on Saturday. And honestly, thank God, that was the worst day of football of the season, in my opinion. Those two games sucked. Those were not good games. The Buccaneers-Panthers game was terrible. It was raining. The refs were bad. Just nothing exciting going on whatsoever. And then in the night game, I mean, Seattle does have the best defense in the NFL, but I mean, they just completely took over. Like the 49ers didn't even score a touchdown. It's just not fun to watch. So thank God those games were yesterday because they just were not fun to watch. Kevin, what's up? Guru. Yeah, so it's not quite as bad as it could be, but there's definitely some players sitting out, some guys not playing, some different motivational spots. I made a TikTok last night of who the most motivated teams are. So a lot of the stuff on the AFC side is unsettled. So if we're just looking at the AFC as a whole right now, the Broncos have to win to get the 1 seed in the bye week. The Patriots have to win in the event that the Broncos don't win, then they would get that 1 seed in the bye week. Both the Jaguars and the Texans have to win. If the Jaguars win, they get the division and the home playoff game. If the Jaguars lose, then the Texans would win the division and get the home playoff game with that win. And then in the night game, the Ravens and the Steelers, both of them are playing all in. Winner gets the AFC North and the playoff berth. On the NFC side, a lot is tied up because of the Seahawks winning last night. They get the 1 seed, they get the bye week. So kind of where we're at now with that is the only thing that's unsettled is the Bucks and Panthers are watching because the Falcons beat the Rams last week. If the Falcons beat the Saints today and they are favored, the Panthers would still get in the playoffs. If the Saints beat the Falcons, then the Bucks get in the playoffs. And then other than that, it's just kind of seeding purposes. But the Rams are much more motivated to win now that the other game in the NFC West has been settled. So we actually, early on in the week, I thought there was no way that the Rams guys were going to play much, if at all. Now I do think the Rams will play because if they win, like Mitchell pointed out in chat, they get to face off against whoever gets in between Carolina and Tampa Bay, as opposed to, a tougher opponent. So the Rams are motivated as well to win today. And you could see that reflected in the line. The Rams were like touchdown, 7-8-ish point favorites all week. And that line after that game last night, after the results of those games yesterday, that line's jumped up a ton. I think they're minus 14.5 now against the Cardinals. So you should see the Rams trying to win as well. All right, so let's talk DFS first, and then we'll talk betting. To be honest with you, a lot of the touchdown odds, like there's just no good value. And I know like a lot of other shows and a lot of people will be talking about like incentive stuff probably. I've said this last year and this year, like the incentive narrative stuff has gotten way overblown to where there's just no value in betting on it, in my opinion. The books priced it in so much. So if you think back to like 4, 5, 6 years ago, it was really advantageous to like get in and know about the incentives and kind of, play that angle. And it's too publicly available now. And the books know that and they price it in. So I honestly would fade a lot of these incentive narrative stuff as opposed to betting on it. So I will not really be breaking down any of that personally. Yeah, Guru, I do agree with it only because the Chargers are kind of their own situation where like they're just so banged up. And the Chargers do have a chance to like get to the Super Bowl in a wide open AFC where the teams at the top, Denver and New England, like I don't really trust them to go on these crazy Super Bowl runs fully. So I do think the AFC is pretty open, and the Chargers need to get healthy. So I do agree with them resting their guys. They're one of the few teams that really need to rest up more so than getting those reps in today. Because if anything, like someone could get hurt today, with how bad their offensive line has been and stuff. So I would be fine. I have no issues with the decision there from Harbaugh to rest those guys. All right. So on the DFS side of things, if we start at quarterback, once again, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the cash game option. He is projected for far and away the highest ownership tag at quarterback. So you have him at the top there. And then in terms of ownership projection after Trevor Lawrence, you have Caleb Williams, Tyler Shugg, Drake May, Tanner McKee, Jackson Dart kind of rounds out the top 5 or 6 there. I agree with the Lawrence chalk. I think he is a great play. I don't have any problems with him. The need to win. Tennessee's been a pass funnel defense all season. He has a really nice projection, almost 25 points. He's played really well down the stretch of the season. So I have no issues with Trevor Lawrence today. If we're talking outside of him, my favorite options, really like Caleb Williams. It's a really good matchup against the Lions. Like we've picked on the Lions secondary all season. Ben Johnson, think about what happened the last time that the Lions and the Bears played, which was the first time that Ben Johnson played the Lions since leaving them. It was September 14th. It's the second week of the season, and the Detroit Lions beat them by 52-21. They beat them by 30 points, okay? Ben Johnson we've seen this when he coached the Lions. Like they will not take the foot off the gas. And if you don't think that they are seeing this Lions team is limping into this game, they're not going to be in the playoffs. They just beat you by 30 the last time you played. Do you not think Ben Johnson has revenge on his mind? Home game, the Bears are going to absolutely smash on offense today. I will be betting the Bears -3.5. That is my favorite bet today. And that's saying something because I have faded the Bears for the majority of the season. I've told you this is unsustainable. How many turnovers they get, they're not going to keep doing it. I've said that. But today, the Bears are the best bet in my opinion. I will be taking the Bears -3.5. Best bet. I will be playing Caleb and DFS. They are going to smash on offense today. And if they get up, I don't think they're going to stop. I think they probably want to score 50 points themselves after that first game. So yeah, give me Caleb today as a great play. I like Tanner McKee is a very good quarterback. Honestly, Tanner McKee is better than like 5 or 6 of the quarterbacks that have started games this season for teams. Like I honestly believe that. I actually think Tanner McKee is a capable NFL starter. So I would rather, take a chance on him than some of these other guys that are unknown. He's down at 4,500 on DraftKings. You have really cheap stacking options with him. Darius Cooper, I like a lot. Jahan Dotson as well is popping for some ownership. So super cheap stack you can plug in on DraftKings. Tanner McKee would be right there behind Trevor and Caleb for me. And then Jackson Dart, I like against the Cowboys. They actually got back to what Jackson Dart had been doing well for the majority of the season last week. It's a good matchup for him against the Cowboys. So I'm definitely fine getting some Jackson Dart in. And then I like Bo Nix a lot. No one and Matthew Stafford. So both Nix and Stafford are not projected for high ownership whatsoever. I know people are worried about the Broncos taking their foot off the gas, but I don't really think Sean Payton is that type of guy. They need to win the game. They're going to probably have a lot of short fields going against this, resting Chargers offense. So they're going to be in position to score a bunch of points. So I like Bo Nix. And then Matthew Stafford just fitting with what we were talking about. The Rams need to win. Spread jumped up. You also have that narrative, Stafford trying to win MVP. So, yeah, my player pool of quarterbacks is like Trevor Lawrence, Caleb, McKee, Jackson Dart, Bo Nix, Matthew Stafford. Those are probably the guys I'd be looking at whatsoever. I don't think so, Guru. I think they'll just try and win and get that home. Like having the home game in the playoffs, I think for them would be really big. They can beat the Bills, no problem, if they're at home. I mean, the hypothetical spread I see is 1.5. I would probably, I'll be betting the Jags over the Bills if they play each other, if it's in Jacksonville. I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are a better team than the Buffalo Bills at the current state of things. So I think they just want to get that home game. All right, moving on to running back. A lot more murky than quarterback here. We have a ton of options. So at the top, you have Bijan and Gibbs. I like Bijan if picking one. I mean, he's unbelievable, but they have really not been resting him whatsoever. I honestly think he's got himself back in the offensive player of the year mix. So another big game today as a home favorite could really help his case out. So I like Bijan at the top. Gibbs, I just don't know. Like if the Bears are smoking them, like I don't think they're going to like rest him or anything, but I don't know. Yeah, Mitchell, on Black Friday, I took the Jags to win the AFC at 18-1. And I wish I would have did more on that. I think the Jags are really good. I was kind of ahead of the curve on that, but I wish I would have been more just like trusted myself on that one. But yeah, so Gibbs, probably not for me today. He's projected for high ownership. I don't have a problem with him. I'd just rather play Bijan. And especially because prior to the Rams stuff, like yesterday, I would have said, yes, I want to play Gibbs. But now that we know that the Rams are really trying to win this game, I would rather play Puka than Gibbs as well. So I would rank them like Puka, Bijan, 1A, 1B, and then Gibbs would be a distant third. So I'm probably just not going to play much Gibbs today personally. In the mid-tier, I mean, ETN is fine. Kyron is good, especially with the Rams trying to win. I think he could have a really big day. So those two are good. RJ Harvey is fine at 68 as well, kind of fitting with my Bo Nix love. I think you could play RJ Harvey with him. So that next tier, guys, is pretty strong, honestly. Harvey, ETN, Kyron, all those guys are good plays. For me, Gentie's popping for a little bit of ownership as well, but I would play those three over him. And I would also drop down to Jordan Mason at 52 looks like a really strong play to me. Dylan Sampson at 52 looks like a strong play to me. Really good spot for Dylan Sampson going against the Bengals. We've picked on their run defense all season. But why I really like Dylan Sampson more so than the run defense, because they do have Rocket Sanders, who's going to get some carries as well. Harold Fannin, who has basically been the only realistic receiving option for the Cleveland Browns for the last 2 months of the season, like humongous target share for Harold Fannin, especially when Shedeur Sanders has been at quarterback. He's out. So those like screen passes and like, dink and dunk passes, those are going to have to go somewhere. Like I think Judy's a fine play, but Dylan Sampson could like really rack up a bunch of catches today, I think. He's only 5,200. I like Dylan Sampson a lot alongside Mason in that mid-tier. And then we have the cheap guys, Jalen Wright, who will be playing for the Dolphins today at 42, Jaden Blue at 43 for the Cowboys. I think those guys are fine. I don't think there's must plays in there. I think for cash games, a lot of people will try and go stars and scrubs, so they want to get down to that Jalen Wright and Jaden Blue tier. I don't have an issue with those guys. But given that they're projected for pretty high ownership, I'd probably just rather play like Dylan Sampson. I'm probably going to bet some of his props. What are his receiving props? I wonder. Let's take a look at that. I have not checked yet. Let's see. Receiving yards, 17.5. Like, I kind of like that. I don't see a receptions prop for him on FanDuel. Let me see if there's one on Bet365. I do like Jaden Blue, though. So Jaden Blue is someone I was high on coming into the season. It just never really worked out for him in his rookie year. But I think he's good. And the Giants' run defense has been totally abysmal. So Jaden Blue does look pretty good to me at 43 if I were to pick one of those cheap guys. Jim, thanks for tuning in. It might be a Dylan Sampson receptions ladder if I can find a line for it. If not, it might be receiving yards. I really think he can take over and just get all those Harold Fan quick passes. Trying to check Bet365, but it won't load. Oh, here we go. Let's see. No player wants to deal with injuries in the offseason, so I question. Yeah. I do think there's some truth to that. Receiving, receptions, 3. Okay, so for reference, Dylan Sampson's last 2 games, 5 receptions, 3 receptions. His line's at 3.5. I'd probably rather do the yards than that, to be honest. I was hoping he'd be like 2.5 receptions. I'd probably rather do the yards. I mean, he had he didn't have any receiving yards last week, but the game before that, 64. He had a 59 3 or 4 weeks ago as well. So yeah, I think we're gonna do on FanDuel over 17.5 receiving yards for Mr. Dylan Sampson, and then try and alt that up a little bit too. I don't know, on the web browser, it doesn't look right to me. Blue over right on FanDuel as well. If you're talking cash games for that question, Kevin, I do think Wright will be higher owned. And they project about the same, but Wright is 0.2 points ahead of Blue. So people that are using kind of optimizers or projection systems like that, they're all just going to default to Wright because those guys are, Wright is 52 and Blue is 45. It's probably just going to spit you Wright, to be honest. But I like Jaden Blue more than Jalen Wright personally. I think it's a way better matchup and he's cheaper. So I do like Blue more, but I think Wright will probably be higher owned. Let me check the FanDuel app and see if it looks. It doesn't look right to me on this. I'm confused. Let me see. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we can't alt Dylan Sampson on FanDuel, which is just dumb. I can bet him over 17.5 yards, but there's no alt option. So, I mean, I guess we'll have to do it on Bet365. I can't bet props on DraftKings. So let me check DraftKings, though, if you guys can. Maybe you can put it in there. Yeah, I mean, DraftKings lets you. I don't know why FanDuel is scared of this Dylan Sampson, but regardless. So 25 plus. I'll probably just do 40, 50, 60 potentially on DraftKings. Bet365, the odds are plus 320. I mean, the odds are way better on DraftKings. I'll just tell you this, guys, right now. So I don't know. I'll take a look at it after stream, but I like the Dylan Sampson receiving ladder a little bit. Anyways, to rehash kind of back on topic here, Bijan at the top, great play. I like Jaden Blue over Jalen Wright if you're taking a cheap guy. I like Harvey and ETN in that kind of next tier, and Kyron as well after Bijan. And then I really like Jordan Mason today, and I really like Dylan Sampson. 5,200 on DraftKings looks like a super strong play. I'm going to play a good bit of early slate today because a lot of the good games and high total games are in the afternoon slate. So I kind of want to, I like playing the early slate when that happens, and I'm going to play some Dylan Sampson on that early slate. I can tell you that for sure. And I will post one of my early slate lineups after the stream. Moving on to receiver. Obviously, Puka at the top, pretty much a must play for me now that we know that the Rams are trying to win this game. Jacoby Myers, Jahan Dotson, Michael Wilson, Jamar Chase, Darius Slayton, Luther Burden, Justin Jefferson. That's the next guys in terms of ownership projection. Really like Myers today and the rest of the Jags guys. I played Parker Washington on a really good team last week. I think you can go back to him. I think you can play Brian Thomas Jr. And Myers. All those guys are in a good spot. I like Darius Cooper over Jahan Dotson for cheaper and less ownership. I don't really know why Jahan Dotson is projected for more ownership. I don't have a problem with Jahan Dotson, but I definitely think Darius Cooper is the better play. So the fact that I'm getting him at lower ownership is good with me. Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins are good for cheap New York Giants guys. Burden is a great play on FanDuel and DraftKings. Both really like Burden today, fitting with the Caleb stuff. I like JMO if you're going to run back your Bear stuff. I don't know if St. Brown will be a full go. He's banged up. Meaningless game, so you kind of have some concerns there. Dante Pettis. I'm not even lying to you guys. Like 3 weeks ago, I was gonna tweet out like who remembers Dante Pettis, and now like this guy's playing again for the Saints. So good to have him back. Him and Kevin Austin is who Tyler Suggs gonna be thrown to today. I guess you guys can take your shots on either of those guys, but I probably don't play enough teams to get there. I'd rather play Hodgins or Cooper if I was playing a really cheap guy. Cortland Sutton, really good tournament play. I like him. I'd say my favorite GPP plays, Burden, Sutton, Cooper. Yeah, probably those three. Any of the Jags guys are fine. Tony, what's up? Favorite Houston receiver, probably Higgins if I had to pick one of those guys. Tight end, Juwan at the top. I think you're playing him in cash. You also have Dulcich at 26. Those are like going to be the two cash game options, I think. I like Loveland, so I'm going to play Caleb with Loveland and Burden. If I'm not playing Caleb, I'll probably play Juwan or Dulcich on every team. That's just my pool today. You could talk me into Strange if you're doing a Trevor Lawrence team. And you could talk me into Bellinger if you're doing a Jackson Dart team. But pretty tight pool for me at tight end today. Also, potential Travis Kelce's last game ever. Probably going to bet him for a touchdown. What are his touchdown odds? I told you guys at the top, a lot of the touchdown odds are just nuked. Like, there's nothing good. But what are Travis Kelce's odds today? Plus 240. I'll probably bet that, to be honest. All right, we can transition over to the bets. If you joined late, favorite stacks in DFS today: Caleb Williams, Burden, Loveland, Tanner McKee with one or both of his cheap receivers, Bo Nix to Cortland Sutton, Trevor Lawrence, whatever you want to put him with, any of those receivers, and then Matt Stafford since the Rams have to win. I think those are like the best spots today. Upset of the day. Yeah, there'll probably be a good amount of upsets today. I feel like there has been the last few years in these Week 18 slates. I would say Giants are very live to upset. Raiders are very live to upset, which would just be totally hilarious. Probably those two. Giants probably most live, I think, for an upset pick. But yeah, so betting wise, love the Bears today. Minus 3.5. I'm gonna play that pretty heavy. I think that's probably gonna be like a 2-unit play for me. I think they smash. I wonder what their team total is. Let me check if I can find that. 27.5. I might take the over on that, to be honest, too. Big spot for the Bears today, I think. Touchdowns. I like Tanner McKee anytime in the Eagles game. He's like plus 550. That was a good value. I think he definitely could run a touchdown in. So Tanner McKee, anytime touchdown looks like good value. I'm probably going to take the bait on potentially Kelce's last game and take him at plus 240. That's probably like my favorite too. And then Samson, I don't know if I want to bet Samson to score because I do feel like Rocket Sanders will get the goal line stuff. So Samson would have to score from like outside, the goal line. I don't know if I like betting on that. So I'm definitely going to take Samson receiving ladder, but probably not touchdown. McKee looked like good value. Kelsey, Darius Cooper, if you're picking an Eagles receiver for a touchdown. I don't like anyone to score, Guru. I love the under in Sunday Night Football. I'll tweet it later, but that's also going to be a 2-unit for me. The under 41.5 in that Sunday night game looks pretty good. Knicks, Sutton, or Lawrence Washington FanDuel cash? Probably the second one there. I would want to play Trevor Lawrence on both sites in cash today. All right. Overall, replay will be up if you guys missed anything. I will tweet out some stuff after this. I'm going to go finalize my cash teams and get those posted. Thank you guys for tuning in all season too. I really appreciate all of you. We've had great viewership on these streams all season, and that is all thanks to you guys for tuning in. The streams will not be stopping though. You guys know I've had some family stuff going on, but we stream weekdays as well. And then I'll still be live. I will honestly stream on Saturdays too when we have the playoff slates on Saturdays. So we'll be getting tons of streams coming for the playoff slates. Now is the time when I like really heat up. I think you guys know that. I mean, I just ripped through the last like 5 days. I don't know if I've missed a college football pick. When we get down to these must-win games, I really feel like we can dial in. And that same goes for college and NFL. So feeling pretty confident heading into the playoff stuff. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good luck today. And I'll see everybody tomorrow on stream.